very busy, Lee, but you're not getting away with this black chair. We had a week off last week and we need to get back. I know you're busy, but we're going to have to find time.
Right. What the hell did you do to the sunshine?
I know, it's been beautiful all weekend.
It's raining again.
Oh, the minute we start filming, Lee, it rains.
Let's get on with it. I'm frozen today.
Right. These Dechlorinator's have been really popular, really good, but the one stumbling block is, how do you know when it needs replacing?
Yep. The fact is, you don't know for certain when it needs replacing, because if there was a hell of a lot of chlorine in your tap water and you use this thing, it would burn it out quicker. But there are a few things that you can use as a guide, and one of them is the amount of water that you've put through it. How about you use a water meter and you connect that? I know you're thinking it's going to be expensive. It's not. You can buy some really inexpensive little water meters, less than 20 quid. They will tell you how many litres you've used and also how quickly the water is going through the unit.
Oh, okay.
Evolution Aqua recommend about 4 litres per minute. And these little meters that I'm on about, they will show you exactly how many litres a minute are going through your unit.
Have we got any meters to sell?
I'll get some. We'll definitely get some. And I'll put a link in the description for them. You can get them, can't you? We can definitely, yeah. And one more thing that you could do with it is you can actually buy on Amazon, you can buy some tests for chlorine, and you could use that test to test your main supply coming in and then your supply after it's been through your dechlorinator. And if you're not picking up a difference, then you know it's time to swap your carbon dechlorinator.
I think the water meter idea sounds good.
And cheap as well. Yeah. And of course the meter has got more uses than just that. It would tell you how many gallons you've got in your pond when you first build it.
Well, that's always handy to know, isn't it? Water meters used to be very expensive, so you think you can get some
things are a lot more affordable nowadays. I mean, these are not big clumsy things. They're tiny little things. They run on a battery and they're so simple to use.
We need some of them then.
We'll get them. In pond 6, you've got the 8 to 10 inch koi. They're £110 each, or 3 fish for just £300.
Second question today, Lee. How do I make my fish eat out of my hand?
I did a video about how to tame your fish,
make them more friendly.
how to get them eating out the hand, how to make them more friendly. A few things that you can do are, first of all, spend a lot of time actually feeding your fish. So rather than going out in the morning with a great big handful and just throwing it straight at the pond, when you're feeding them, make it into a bit of a ceremony. So sit down quietly at the side of the pond, have a few pellets available, and just gently feed them in. Not great big handfuls of fish food. You might want to use a rubber feeding ring.
Okay.
The fish then will all congregate in that one area. And them things, that's why you've brought that out.
These are very popular, aren't they?
Koi
People
cakes.
love them.
Yeah.
Koi love them.
The idea with these is that you hold them between your finger and thumb and you actually let the fish nibble on them and gently tease them out your hands. That'll give your fish confidence, and that's what it really is. The reason that the fish will come and take food out your hand is because they're confident and they're not apprehensive. Above all, spend time with your fish and enjoy your fish, and make the process of feeding your fish into a ceremony, and then you'll find that the fish are a lot calmer and they're a lot more like the fish here, aren't they? They're always,
these
will
come
feed
up.
out the hand all day.
Well, they always say a chagoy makes them the fish.
How could I forget a chagoy? Tell them about a chagoy, Wendy.
Chagoy. I think mainly they're very greedy fish, so they're always the first ones up to feed, and then it gives the other ones confidence to come up as well. But a chagoy is usually the first fish in the pond to come up to be fed.
Definitely. I think you won that one, Wendy. Should have mentioned the chagoy.
Okay.
In pond 9, we have the 7 to 8 inch koi. At the moment, these fish are £65 each, or 5 for £300.
Third and final question. We're coming into the holiday season, people going away on holiday. What do they need to do about feeding? Just making sure that the fish are going to be all right in their absence. Holiday. Well, the thing that everybody worries about is the feeding. I mean, it's the obvious thing. You don't really need to worry too much about feeding, because a week or so, or even a fortnight, of you not being there and not giving them the food, unless you've got little fry or something, it's not really going to be a problem. They'll manage. You can buy little automatic feeding machines like that that you put at the side of the pond, and you program it with an interval and amount that you want it to feed. These are not particularly expensive, and that's the kind of thing that a lot of people are going to use. But feeding is only one of the things that they're going to worry about. The most important thing whilst you're away is actually to monitor, make sure that you're not having a power cut. The power cut is the thing that worries me, because if nobody's there for days at a time and the power goes off, then you're going to have a problem with your ammonia going up in your pond and oxygen. So what I generally recommend that you do is that you have a word with your neighbour, or someone certainly that lives close, because if your power goes off, there's a good chance that their power will go off as well. And the best thing to do with them is to invite them round before you go away and show them your pond. Let them get used to what your pond looks like and sounds like when everything's working as it should. That way, when they go around to check, they'll have a good idea whether everything is right. So sometimes you might notice something, but somebody who's not familiar with your pond won't. No, good point.
In pond 3, you've got the 16-inch koi. Now these fish are £250 each, but we've started the buy 2 get 1 free. That means you can get 3 of these koi for just £500. What an amazing bargain.
What about, do you think it'd be a good idea just to have a reserve pump or air pump, just as a fail-safe, so that if the pumps went off or the air pump went off, they've just got access to plug a new one in, and you've just got a spare one at hand.
So what you're saying is, get them to buy a very cheap air pump with a pack of stones. You can buy them for less than 20 quid.
Yeah.
Shove it in your shed, have it as a backup, as an emergency thing. Another thing that you can always do in an emergency, if you ever find a pond and the fish are struggling for oxygen, so symptoms would be they're gasping at the surface, or they're very, very lethargic, hanging around where the water comes back in. In that situation, get out the hose pipe and put some fresh water in. That is priority number 1, because that'll rapidly get oxygen in, cool down the water, and it will potentially save the fish from a very unpleasant death. And one tip that a guy once shared with me was the brush. He discovered his pond, already lost 2 fish, really warm evening, the fish were up at the surface, didn't look good, so he ran into his shed and he grabbed a brush and he stood at the side of the pond for 10 minutes plunging the brush up and down into the water. That turned the water over and got some oxygen in dead quick.
We have a delivery service. We can deliver your fish. We send them out on a next day delivery.
It only costs 20 quid.
Yeah,
And we'll ship as many fish as you put on the order for 20 quid. And another thing about holidays we're on about, aren't we?
Holidays.
I'm losing the plot now. It's because it's raining and all over.
Doesn't seem very holiday now. One of the points that we've had a couple of customers say is just be careful if you're getting other people to feed your fish. It is probably best to leave them the amount that you want to feed and maybe put it into days, because people who don't understand fish love feeding them, but the tendency will be to put too much food in.
That's a very good point.
It's happened a lot of times, so maybe just leave them in little tubs, one for each day, and then hide the big bucket, because it has been problematic to people in the past.
Definitely overfeeding.
Overfeeding.
I think that's a great tip as well.
We love to feed things, don't we? We love to feed them. So.
Have we got any more questions?
No, that's our 3 questions. Holidays, feeding fish, Dechlorinator.
Thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video.
We'll be back next week.
We'll be back. Well, we will if the weather improves. Yeah. I'm not sitting out here in a wet chair again. I'll have to dry my backside off.
And put my long trousers back on.